time at a border. The border between Normandy on one side and Brittany on the other. A border between England and France, between the sea and the continent, but above all, between heaven and earth. As the Archangel St. Michael came from heaven to defeat, to kill the dragon on earth. The start of the worship of St. Michael here, it was in 708. And that's because of That's because of a haunted bishop, the bishop of the town of Avranches, a town in Normandy. And this bishop, he was called Aubert. He dreamt 3 nights in a row about the Archangel. The first night, St. Michael appeared in his dream and told him, "You have to build me a sanctuary on the mount." But when he woke up, the bishop, he thought, nonsense, just a dream. The second night, St. Michael appeared again. "You have to build me a sanctuary on the mount." But he didn't listen. The third night, this time to be understood, the Archangel, he put his finger on the head of the bishop and repeat, "Really, you have to build me a sanctuary on the mount." And then the bishop obeyed. The first sanctuary wasn't as big as the one we know today. It was a round sanctuary in the shape of a grotto, and it could contain 100 persons. So now we're making a jump until the end of the 10th century. Here at the end of the 10th century is in France. On one side, the Dukedom of Normandy, and on the other, the Dukedom of Britain. And the Mont St Michel was a property of the Duke of Normandy, it was Richard I, and he's the one who will establish on the Mount a Benedictine community. But it was also a way to settle his power at the border of his territory, facing Brittany, telling to the Bretons, "Bretons, stay at home, here it's my place, it's Normandy, you don't come here." They needed a bigger church, the Benedictine monks. It's called today Our Lady Underground, but it wasn't underground at the end of the 10th century. But since then, they built all around and on top of it. It still exists today, it's under the church you're facing right now. It's a 2-naves church, 2 corridors, the first one under the main doorway and the other under the left entrance. And they kept this underground church to be part of the platform at the top of the mount, because the mount has the shape of a pyramid. And if you build an abbey at the top of a pyramid, it won't be stable. They first had to build a platform at the top to welcome the construction of this church during the 11th century. So here on this side they kept the underground church, and then they built 3 other crypts all around the top of the mount. There is a step on the terrace. It's not just for decoration, it's to give you the idea of the former length of the church. There was the former facade, the former doorway, down, and the 2 big squares, it was the 2 towers of the facade. At the end of the 18th century, took place a fire that destroyed the 3 first parts of the church. The monks, they didn't have enough money to rebuild the whole church. They just built a new facade to close the building. So this facade from the end of the 18th century, it's called French classic style in architecture. We will see different architectural styles during the tour, but that's because this abbey survived a lot of fires, a lot of collapsings, but they always rebuilt, they always stayed on the mount because it was the location shown by the Archangel himself. Do you have any questions so far? Yes?
What are these numbers?
All the numbers. That's because each stone cutters, they were paid per stone cutted. So to recognize which one cutted which stone, they had to put a mark on it. So when you see there's a lot of numbers 8, for example, or number 9. It's the same stone cutters that cutted all the stones with an 8 on it, with a 9 on it. So at the end of the day, to calculate how much he earned during the day and to pay the stone cutter, they were counting the stone with the same mark on it. Yeah.
And that would be 200 years ago?
No, this is, I was about to say, this is from the restorations, end of the 19th century, because it's with Arabic numbers, but it was the same system during the Middle Ages, but with Roman numbers on the stones.
Merci.
You're welcome. The water will be able to go round the mount again, because the sand is staying there. So there is more and more sand and less water. So less and less island. So that's why. But that's also because it's a natural movement process. It's not sorry, the third building that was supposed to be built. No, we have no names for the archives. Maybe, we're not sure, but you see there is spaces right there, up there. The chartered room for the archives. And each carving is unique. There is not twice the same pattern within the poster. If you look to the entrance of the room, on both sides, you can see the windows. It's where you are walking in the refectory, that at each step, you discover new windows on both sides. There is 59 windows in this room. When you look to the entrance, you see there is 2 walls. So do you remember the characters on the low relief? The Archangel St. Michael, with his finger on the head of the bishop, telling him, you have to build me a sanctuary on the mount. Sustain the weight of this wall. If you look to this wall, for example, to the window or the doorway, the wall is 3 meters wide to support the weight of the vault that is supporting the weight of the transept in the church itself. We are under the southern arm of the transept, the one with the semicircular arches at the windows. You will remember. Behind the wooden door, there is a staircase leading up to the church. The church is the main building. There is always an access to join the church. We are next to the big staircase to go up to the terrace. On their way up, the monks, the pilgrims, they could stop here, have a rest, and then go back on their climbing to the top. Now, over there, St. Michael. It's called St. Michael since 708. The worship of St. Michael here. Before that, it was called the Mount Tombe. That's why the little one is called Tombelaine, from the Mont Tombe. And the third one is... And you can see how they started the construction, the bricks directly on the rock. There's no foundation here. This is the rock. Yes, this, don't push too hard.
Just on the grand scale.
I couldn't bring anything.
Enfin, ça, je m'en passerai volontiers, sauf si tu le connais.
Non, ça n'a pas.
J'ai eu assez avec le soleil. Non, mais ça a été une seconde. Tu savais ou pas?
Quoi que Mont St Michel a été une fille, d'ailleurs assez amusant.